You have been diagnosed with ADHD. When I first started to do the work to understand myself and to accept myself, I had a lot of questions. I had nowhere to ask them, and I certainly didn't have any answers. In fact, I had a lot of wrong answers that were provided to me by well-meaning parents and teachers who didn't fully understand the situation. I had a roadmap put in place for me. There were things I was supposed to do, profession I was supposed to be, type of person I was supposed to be. Well, it turns out when I came out of the box, I didn't fit that. As I was starting to circle around the idea that perhaps I might have ADHD, I allowed myself to call myself a neurodivergent for a while. I guess I needed that. I needed to be neurodivergent before I could understand that ADHD is a type of neurodivergence. I needed to be okay that I did not have a neurotypical brain. I've always known I've never had a neurotypical brain. So why was it so hard for me to try to come to an understanding and an acceptance that I had a diagnosis of ADHD? I mean, it took me a long time to drum up the courage to even ask my therapist if that was something that I had. In my case, my therapist thought it best for me to try to come to that conclusion on my own and then ask for help. And in my case, that was better. I think if I would have had an authority figure tell me that I have something, I would have resisted. I would have said, no, I don't, and you guys are wrong, and all the things that people used to say to me when I was trying to perform tasks that were not being done in a way that they wanted me to do them. I finally had the courage to ask my therapist, and I also asked my therapist how long he'd known I'd had ADHD, and he said pretty much within the first couple of visits. At first, I got the diagnosis. I was relieved, excited. I finally had information regarding why I do what I do. I had the answer to a lifelong question. What is it about me that just seems to be different? It wasn't the explanation for everything in my life, but it brought me to a place where I could start to observe myself. I felt empowered at first. The ADHD, I just gained a major bit of understanding. A huge thing has just happened. I've gone from unknown to known. That was a gigantic, major dopamine hit. I wasn't excited that I had ADHD. I was just excited that somebody who knew what they were talking about was going to be able to help me learn about myself in a way that had not been presented to this point in my life. The initial excitement about learning that I have ADHD pretty soon gave way to a resigned sense of permanence. Good feelings gone. Honestly, I was struggling after a while. I had to figure out a way to process this. Therapy helps a ton. A strong friend support group can help, but ultimately when it comes down to it, nobody is responsible for ourselves other than ourselves. So in my case, I needed to learn how to train this ADHD dragon. I decided one way to help process this was to share my experiences with other people who may be going through the same thing and don't have an outlet to hear that other people have had similar experiences, and the YouTube channel was born. There are two things that have helped me understand the way I work more than most other things. The first is observation. I like to observe my life more than live my life. Now, what do you mean by that? It's kind of like watch your life like it's a movie instead of you are like the first person player in the movie. I mean, yes, you are in it, but what you do looks a whole lot different from this perspective than from this perspective. The second thing that I started to do was I started to record my thoughts. There's a lot of different ways that I like to record my thoughts. One of them is, well, the YouTube channel. It helps me process a lot of these things. Primarily, I process by journaling onto my phone. I hate the word journaling. It makes me feel like it's a job. Recording, I don't know, that seems like less of a job to me. Journaling, I'm not going to do, but recording my thoughts and feelings onto notes on my phone, that I can do. There's a ton of different ways to do this. Any medium can work. You can write in a notebook, you can do sticky notes, or just audio or video recording yourself as you are expressing the thoughts and feelings that you are having. I mean, whatever means works for you, just go for it, just do something. The process of understanding and accepting my ADHD has now become invigorating and something interesting. This is very much a reversal from the past. Okay, so you have a recent diagnosis of ADHD. Now what? It's gonna sound impossible. It's not. You can sit. Don't plan or solve just yet. Turns out you can't chase calm. Calm has to come to you. When you unlock calm with your ADHD, you unlock a natural, sustainable path to dopamine. There's life processes that we all go through, and some people learn how to train emotions into a superpower. I think you can do it too.